Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to run you through how to set up and run the Ochu's Grotto encounter. The Ochu's Grotto is a free D&D 5e encounter. You can access it by clicking on the Google Drive link below. Once you've gotten to the Google Drive, you'll want to go to the encounters and right-click and download the Ochu's Grotto encounter. Once you've done that, you'll need to extract the files and then upload them to your Roll20 art library. Next, you'll want to go to the page toolbar, create a new page, and go to that page. First thing we're going to do is edit the settings. So pull up your page toolbar again and go to the page settings. We're going to change the width to 22 and the height to 18. While here, I also like to change the background color to gray, and let's go ahead and make the grid black. Now that we have that set up, we'll change to our map and background layer and drag the battle map down, and we're going to expand that until it touches the bottom edge. Then we'll switch to the tokens, and we'll drag the Ochu down and expand him to 4x4 since he is a gargantuan creature. And then we'll get the sapper and the healer. Next, we're going to move over the AoE effects, starting with the healing spore cloud, and we're going to make that 15 feet by 15 feet. Same with the sap, and again with the sleep spores. Once we have all of those laid out, we can add the HP of our tokens, and I like to do the armor class as well. And the Ochu will be 300 HP and 14 armor. Now, highlight all the tokens except for the Ochu. Hit Control-C to copy. Click somewhere on the battle map and press Control-V to paste a few duplicates. And then highlight those duplicates and drag them over to the other side. And one more thing we'll have to do is go to the GM info layer, and we're going to drag the D8 chart and expand that to fit over the battle map. And we're just about good to go. One more thing we'll have to do. We want to hide the area to the right of the battle map. That is going to act as our DM screen. So we'll turn on our fog of war and we'll reveal only the battle map. And this will make it to where we can freely move tokens and effects in and out of the what I like to treat as the DM screen without the players knowing what's going on. One more thing you may want to do is set up your Ochu's stat block and character sheet. You don't have to do everything here, but I find that it's most useful to at least include his stats as well as his attacks. And in this case, I've put his lair actions as well. One thing I forgot to do was add the Ochu's Lily, so we'll drag that down to the token layer and make it 2x2 and drop it in the middle of the map. Now we're ready to start running the encounter. So we'll drag a couple of volunteers down. So we'll get our barbarian, our rogue, and our monk. And that looks good. And we'll say that the barbarian has triggered the encounter by trying to chop down the lily. So once he does that, the Ochu would spring forward, and at this point you would have your players roll for initiative. There we go. I've already set it up, so we have that ready. Now is a good time to go over what the Ochu can do and how it's going to do it. So the Ochu does have legendary actions. First, he has his leap, which recharges on a 5 and a 6 at the beginning of his turn, and he also has his corrosive fluids to help him deal with characters who are good at staying a safe distance away. Next, he'll have his lair actions, and on the initiative, we've used the lily to denote initiative 20 when the lair actions would take place, and he has 3 choices. First, he can launch 3 sappers. Second, he can have 3 healers emerge from the ground. And thirdly, he can have sleep spores fall from the canopy above. This is where the D8 chart comes in handy. So the way that I do this is I roll 3d8, and we'll say that, okay, that's a bad example because they all landed on 5. So we're going to do another set. That's a little bit better. So we're going to drag a sapper to each one of those zones, and I try to keep them on the outskirts to give players a little bit of time to adjust. Okay, so on initiative 10 and 0, the sappers are going to move 10 feet towards the nearest enemy, and when they reach them, they are going to explode, dealing 1d4 plus 2 damage and leaving behind an area of difficult terrain that is 15 feet by 15 feet. So for this example, we'll say that, let's put the right minion down there. We're going to say that this one makes it to Hector and explodes, dealing his damage, and it is then going to leave behind an area of difficult terrain. Now for his other lair action, you would much the same roll another 3d8s, and I've already done that here. And that would leave 7, 4, and 5. We'll have a healer emerge. And we're going to say that the monk manages to intercept one. She deals lethal damage to it. It is going to explode and leave behind a healing spore cloud. Now, the healing spore cloud is going to heal a creature the first time that it enters the spore cloud on its turn, or if it starts its turn in the cloud. Otherwise, if the minions are able to make it to the Ochu, they're going to heal him for the maximum amount of HP, which is 16 HP. And for his third action, he is going to roll 2d8. And in this case, we got a 6 and a 4, and there aren't any players in either of those. Let's say that Norik were in the 6th area. So a sleep spore cloud is going to fall on him. He's then going to have to make a constitution save, falling unconscious until the end of his next turn if he fails. Next, we'll go over the Ochu's attacks. So he can make 2 attacks with his tendrils, use his reel, and make 1 bite on his turn. Oh, sorry. And so in this case, we'll say he's going to make an attack on Norik, who is now unconscious, and Hector. We'll say that he misses Hector and he's able to pull in Norik. Now he's able to use his bite attack since he's within close range. It's important to note that if a character is close enough to be meleeing him, even though they're not grappled, they can still fall victim to his bite. And one more thing, you'll want to remember that he does have 1 legendary resistance per day. And that about does it. If you do download it, there is also a PDF in the download that goes more in depth on how to run it. Feel free to use any of the other tokens in your games. And if you do run this, let me know how it goes, and good luck.